The bank locked me out. So I sat down and changed every password I owned. And one of them asked me a security question: who's your best friend? And I typed the truthful answer: no one. I had a lawyer, a therapist, two sons who'd have picked up the phone on the first ring, and I typed no one, and I meant it. Welcome back. This is Dr. Lisa, science-backed, soul-supported, the Nezneski community. We're on day one of Same Place, Higher Ground, and today we're talking about why you feel alone, even when people are around you. Now, before anything else, I did take last week off on purpose. No videos, no scripts, no camera. I want to name that out loud rather than pretend the gap didn't happen, because a week of rest is the exact thing this series has been teaching all month. And I'm not going to teach it and then quietly skip it myself. So that's where I've been, and here's where we are. This week is about the part of healing nobody films, not the collapse. We did the collapse in week one. This is the part afterwards. The part where you were doing better, genuinely better, and then something knocks you right back in a room you thought you'd left. And here's the thing I want to get at today before we ever get to the going backward part. When you slide, you go quiet. And that's nearly universal, and it's the piece that does the real damage. So let's start with what that loneliness actually is, because almost everyone has it wrong. John Cacioppo at the University of Chicago spent about 30 years on this, and he was rigorous about the way it mattered, because loneliness research attracts a lot of soft thinking. His central finding was that loneliness is not a headcount. It's the distance between the connection you have and the connection you need, which means two people can sit at the same dinner table in the same marriage at the same conference, and one of them is fine and the other is starving. And he framed it as a signal rather than a defect, which is the part I want you to keep. Hunger tells you to eat. Thirst tells you to drink. Loneliness, on his account, is an adverse state that evolved to push you back towards your people, because for most of human history, being cut off from the group was a genuine survival problem. Under that logic, feeling lonely is not evidence that something's wrong with you. It's evidence that a system built to keep you alive is doing its job, and it's pointing to something real. Now, here's my version. Somewhere in the middle of all this, I couldn't get into my online bank. Small things, but I panicked anyway. And I went and put extra security on everything: the bank, the credit agencies, Social Security, all of it. And then I got to the RV account, and I'd forgotten the password. And the reminder security question came up on the screen: who is your best friend? And I typed truthfully, this is what it was: no one. I want you to sit in that with me, because I didn't at the time. I answered it and moved on with my day. It took me until the second payment to think, wait a minute, what were you actually thinking? What frame of mind were you in? And you said, no one's your best friend. And, is that really serving you? The poem is called Passwords. It's in Grounded in Chaos. And the thing about it that still gets me is not the sad part, is that I was not friendless. I had a lawyer, I had a therapist, I had my Reiki girl, I had a real estate agent, I had sons who picked up the phone, I had people. And I typed no one anyway, which is Cacioppo's whole point in one line from a woman who had never heard his name up to that point. Because here's what was actually happening. I had stopped telling anyone the truth. I was answering, how are you with fine? I was managing my own face. And if you know me, I pretty much, you can see everything that I'm thinking and feeling on my face. But anyway, and a person who stopped saying anything real to anyone is functionally alone, no matter how many names are in her phone. That's the trap of the setback. The dip makes you go quiet, and the quiet makes the dip deeper, and around it goes. And it's very hard to notice from the inside because it doesn't feel like hiding. It feels like not wanting to be a burden. It feels like waiting until you have better news. The poem doesn't end in the dark. And I want to tell you where it goes because it surprised me when I wrote it. I went and changed all those passwords and all of them. And my work password went from Lonewolf to Risingstar. Every login became something I had to type at myself several times a day, whether I believed it or not. And that's not a mindset trick, and I'm not going to sell it as one. It was a woman who could not talk to anyone yet, finding the one place she could leave a message for herself. So that's today, not the setback. Tomorrow's the setback. Today is only this. Notice whether you have gone quiet, because that's the thing that decides which direction the next few weeks go. Today's practice. Send one true sentence to one person, not the whole story, just one sentence, accurate, but no cushioning. I'm having a harder week than I've been letting on. That kind of thing. You're not asking for anything. You're not starting a conversation you have to finish. You're breaking the silence with this one sentence, because the silence is what makes this heavy. And one sentence is enough to interrupt it. And that's day one. If you've been going quiet lately, if you heard the password story and something in you went, wow, okay. So drop a "that's me" in the comments so you can see how many of us are in the same room. If this gave you one easier breath, help me pass it on. Like, subscribe, tap the bell, and save it to a playlist. And drop a comment because I do read every single one. Thank you so much to all the subscribers. Every share brings one more person into this, the Nez Zen community. And that's how we build it, one steadier day at a time. Now, tomorrow, why going backward is not the same as failing. Science-backed, soul-supported, the Nez Zen community.